Hello, it's Professor Plyman here. Today we're going to be talking about the dive method of interpreting texts. So, good readers don't jump to conclusions. They gather evidence. And in just a second, you're going to see a photo that makes you realize I intentionally picked this line and I'm intentionally being kind of punny with it. So let's talk about what the DIVE method is. DIVE stands for describe, interpret, verify, and evaluate. And the goal with the DIVE method of interpreting text is really to separate what you know from what you think you know. So this process encourages readers to distinguish observation from inference and to verify assumptions before making judgments. Okay, what I want you to do now is pause the video and take some time to really look at this image. Are you back? Did you pause it and look at this image? Now let's talk about this. So the first time I saw this image, the thought immediately that popped into my head was, what in the world is happening here? And why is somebody jumping over babies? And my second thought was, this isn't real. This is AI. But this photo is actually real. It is not edited. It is not an AI hallucination. So we are going to use the DIVE method to interpret this photo. So for the first step in the DIVE method, you are going to describe what you actually see. No guesses, no explanation, no opinions, just describe it. What do you see? I see 6 babies laying on some kind of mattress or pad on the ground. I see a man in a yellow and red outfit jumping over them. Immediately I notice his Adidas, right? This feels like some sort of, oh, did you hear me? I was just making a assumption or a guess there. What you want to do is, as hard as it is, to stop that and just see what you actually notice. I can see people in the crowd. I can see strollers. There are other people that look like they're in some sort of ceremonial garb. So what is it that I can see? So after D for describe, we get to I for interpret. This is where you interpret what you think is happening, what you think is happening in the text, what you think is happening in the photo, right? My interpretation is this looks like some sort of ritual that's being performed. I see people in garb on the left side of the photo that looks like maybe this is some sort of religious thing. People are taking pictures. It doesn't look like anybody is rushing the man in the yellow costume. So maybe this is a, community practice. Everybody seems okay with it. There's a lot of interpretation going on here from my side. And maybe you interpret it very differently. Multiple interpretations are certainly possible. So now we're at V for verify. Here's where you determine the context. You do your homework and you figure out what actually is happening in the photo, in the text, and whatever it is that you are interpreting. So this is El Colacho, a centuries-old festival in Spain. This photo is actually from National Geographic, but if you just Google El Colacho or baby jumping festival, you will find lots of pictures of this. This tradition is connected to local religious and cultural beliefs. Participants believe that the ritual symbolically protects the infants. by presenting the triumph of good over evil. There are safety precautions that are taking place here, though many people still disagree with the practice. So now we're at the last step. We have described, we have interpreted, we have verified, and now we're going to evaluate. Now is when you form an opinion. Has your opinion changed? Do you feel the same way about the photo now that you know what's happening as you did the first time you saw the photo? Would you be in support of this tradition? Do you think tradition should always continue? Can we respect a culture while questioning one of its practices? What information would you need to know to make a fair judgment? Lots of questions to get you thinking about how we might evaluate the image of this practice. But the point that I want to make here is that evaluation comes after understanding. First, we're going to describe, then we're going to interpret, then we're going to verify, and the last step is evaluating. Now, let's talk about why dive matters. Good readers don't immediately believe or accept headlines, social media posts, photographs, videos, or even AI-generated content. Good readers slow down. They ask questions and they verify before reaching conclusions. We've talked a lot about critical thinking so far this semester. Remember that it's a process. It's not a reaction. This is just one method of interpretation, but whatever method of critical thinking you use, you do have to realize that there are steps before evaluation and making a judgment call. This is something that you can use in lots of different facets of your life, not just at school. When you read news articles, when you scroll through social media, when you see something that you think, I wonder if that is AI generated, when you're looking at photographs or graphs or statistics, videos, even approaching different cultures. The goal with the dive method isn't to just be skeptical of everything. The goal is really to think before you judge, and that is a crucial part of critical thinking.